All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mindy Diebel, and I am one of your Blue Diamonds. And today I am so excited for you to hear from a special guest. I'm really not going to take any more time because this gal, she is killing it right now. She's having her very best month ever. How many of you would love to be a top producer in Trinant? Do you want to know what they're doing? Well, just so you know, this gal is a top producing diamond who started from scratch and has built to the top, has built massive teams all over the place. She is doing big things right now here in Trinant, and I want you to hear her story. And I just want all of you to know that no matter who you are, no matter what your circumstances are today, they don't define what you can create. This is not about your ability. This is about your commitment. And this gal who you're going to hear from, she is 100% committed. She's a busy mama. She has two kids, one that is 8, one that is 17 years old. Her husband works full time, and she has been able to fit this into her life and create something massive. And I want you to hear how she's done that. So please help me welcome top producing diamond, Miss Sarah Hollingsworth. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today. We are so excited to hear your story. And I love that I get to do this with you today because you and I, we've never done this before together. So thank you so much for being here, and we're excited you're here.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I was so excited to be asked. I was like, yay, I've never done one of these with Mindy. So, yeah, I'm just really, I'm so excited to be here. I'm so blessed to be here. I think, I was thinking last night, just like what an incredible position we're all really in here at Trinant. Spending last weekend at Ascent was crazy. And I'll touch on that at the very end, just some of the stuff that I took away from being around corporate. But Mindy was just asking me some questions earlier. So for those of you who don't know, I was actually a full-time paramedic for 17 years. I was in emergency medicine for about 24 years, and I absolutely loved it. And then I had a product experience, and I feel like that's something that I keep coming back to. Like, I had a product experience, and it changed my life so much that I couldn't stop talking about it. And I feel like that's something we're all experiencing with like our customers or even like our associates, people having these wild experiences. And I ended up making a post about it just out of my own experience. Like, I was so excited. And the girl that I ended up signing up into network marketing with said, you can just share your own link. And I was like, really? She was like, yeah, you can just get your own link. And that's where I was at the time. It was like $20 to sign up. And it never even crossed my mind that I could be good at this. It never crossed my mind that this was something that could be my full-time job. I just knew that, like, I was so excited about what I had my hands on. I wanted to talk about it. And I think about that a lot, just with like where we are right now, because I spent 4.5 years in my first company, and I had some success there, but it was also like inflated success. Um, I hadn't actually matured my way to the rank that I hit. I hadn't grown my leadership skills to the rank that I hit, so I didn't keep that rank. And I ended up falling back, which is really common also in this industry. That happens with everybody, even though we don't talk about it a lot. Like, that happens. You fall back maybe a rank or so. That's normal. But I also hadn't developed enough to get to the point where I could maintain my rank and continue to move forward. And I was committed to growth there, but I didn't have any I didn't have an upline. We didn't have any tools. We had literally nothing like we have here. Nothing. And so by the time that we had to leave, they made some compensation plan changes there. I was so thankful for where we are right now, because we're just in such a different place than most companies. But where I had come from, they made some compensation plan changes, and the culture of the company had shifted so drastically that it was time for us to go. Tina and I, and then, like I saw Christine on here, and there's a few of us that all kind of left together. But I came here to Trinant, and I had no one following me. I wasn't a big leader that people wanted to follow to another company and create a new dream with. Like, nobody came with me over here. I started from scratch. And that was in June of 22, just for a time reference for everybody. And so I started here with nobody and I started from scratch. And I just decided, I think one of the biggest things is like I just mentally decided that I'm not quitting until it works. But I did not put a time frame on what it works looked like. It wasn't a rank, it wasn't a money goal. I just, in my brain, I thought I'm going to keep doing this until it works. Well, obviously, it started working very quickly for me, and I hit Ruby in my first 2 weeks. I was so excited. I was finally like growing again, and I was really excited about that. But I had to do a lot of mindset work because I know if any of you guys were at convention and I spoke on stage, that was one of the things I talked about. I ended up staying stuck, you guys, at Ruby for like 8 months, something crazy like that, like a really, really long time. And first of all, in my brain, it still hadn't worked. I hadn't reached that goal yet. And even though I didn't even have a specific thing, I just knew that there was a level of freedom that I hadn't quite reached yet. And I stuck with it. And we started asking our mentors and we started really digging in deep with a lot of mindset work on how I knew I had to become somebody else to reach a level I never had before. Ruby was really what I had fallen back to at my previous company, like that, basically like the same type of rank. And so I knew that there was something in me that had to shift and it had to grow if I was going to really actually go any further. And that was a lot of work. It was a lot of work because it's hard for us to kind of look internally. Sometimes we think that it's easy, like I'm just going to read a book and it's going to change my life. But I had to dig deep, really deep into, what kind of sets of not values, but just like where was my brain stuck? What were the kinds of things that I was thinking about myself or my business or my future, even subconsciously, things that we might be thinking about on the DL. We don't say it out loud, but we're thinking these things all the time. And I had realized that I had never really considered myself a leader. I'd never considered myself anyone who was going to actually build a big business here. I considered myself less than because I'd been a medic. I didn't have a lot of following. I didn't really know what I was doing. Like those were the things that were running through my head, and I would never speak them out loud, but they were still drastically affecting my growth. And so when I hit this very uncomfortable point in my business where I was doing all the things, right? And I think we've probably all been there. You're doing all the things. You're like, I'm reaching out to people, I'm doing the stories, I'm posting the reels, I'm making the posts. It's not working. Um, for me, it was because of my mindset. And it was because I had not considered the fact that I could actually build this into something huge. And so I've had to dig really deep on breaking down those thought processes and those mindsets that I had that was keeping me stuck at a level that wasn't ever going to grow. I was never going to grow beyond that until I busted those out. I posted something in my stories yesterday. It might still be up. That basically says a seed has to completely crack open and come all the way undone, and it looks like disaster until it starts to grow. And I loved that because that was almost what I had to go through. I had to break down these mindsets that I had set in my head from working my previous job, from stuff even when I was growing up, like things that I had thought about myself for a very, very long time. I had to break those down and choose a new way of thinking and get into my subconscious in a sense. It's not really your subconscious. You know what you're thinking every day, right? It was just stuff I hadn't talked about, stuff I hadn't said out loud. So when I really deconstructed that and I started to work on that and I started to change how I was thinking and I started to change how I was speaking about myself and the way that I showed up, I had to show up as somebody else before I became that other person. That feels weird, you guys. Like I get that. And I know that's why a lot of people don't do it because you feel like inauthentic, right? You're like, I'm not that person yet. I can't show up like I'm a diamond if I'm only an opal. That's weird, right? That's how I felt too. But I actually did have to start showing up like a diamond. I had to put myself in the position that I hadn't actually reached yet with my volume for that volume to catch up. Excuse me. So So that was a really big thing. That was a huge shift for me. And I see that with people, like if I'm coaching or whatever, it's almost 100% of the time, because let's be honest, like we have an amazing team. This is an amazing company. We have tons of resource. We know what to do, right? Most people know exactly what to do. And it is this, even if you're not even being aware of what it is that you're thinking, but it's this that's keeping you small. So what is this thing? That's the biggest hurdle I had to get over. The biggest hurdle I think anybody has to get over is, what is this? What am I thinking? What am I speaking about myself? How do I see myself? If I'm not showing up like that person, why not? Digging into that, because that's what keeps you playing small. You absolutely can show up like a diamond. You don't, and just you're just waiting for your volume to catch up. And you can't put a time frame on that either. If I put a time frame on it, I would be very frustrated. But I didn't. I just knew that I was going to keep doing this until it worked. And I knew that I had to switch this if I wanted to show up as that future person. So I really think that's the biggest takeaway, because now, like, and obviously one other thing that I really wanted to hit on too was the fact that one single person literally can change your entire business. And you have no idea who that person is. You don't know who they are. So if you're judging who might not want to hear about this based on your perception of them, if you're taking the first time they say no thank you, I'm not really interested, as the final, you could be missing out on a lot. And I'm not telling you to be like super obnoxious, and we don't want that either. But what I'm saying is that you never know who that other person is going to be. You don't know who that one person is going to be that's going to change your business. Pouring into your team, pouring into the people that come into business with you, helping them reach their potential and their goals is always going to help you win too. And part of the big growth in my team right now is because of that, because I helped somebody else feel like they were a leader. I helped somebody else show up as someone rank wise that they weren't yet. In my business is changing because they started to bring people in to the organization. And so I think that's really twofold. The mindset is going to be the biggest part of this for anybody. And I know we hear that all the time, but a lot of times I think we get very surfacey with it. We don't actually dig real deep into what are the things that I'm thinking about my business? What are the subconscious things that I'm thinking about my business? Who's that one person I'm thinking about when I make a post that I'm kind of afraid what they might think? So I'm going to tone it back a little bit. Who are those people that I won't message because I'm so worried about what they might think about me, but they could be the ones that will change my entire business? That was really it. It was getting past my own self and dismantling this. And I'm not going to say that it's easy, because it's not. But it's very simple. It's breaking this down and deciding to rewire the way that you think about yourself and your business, because you won't really have a choice to not show up as that new person once you decide that. Everything else just has to take time to catch up. You start showing up like a diamond, you'll be a diamond. Can't put a time frame on it, but you'll be a diamond. You show up like a diamond every single day, you absolutely will be. There's no choice but for that to follow up. And so that's really it. That's kind of what I wanted to touch on, because that was so huge for me. I never would have busted past. And it's not like I busted past it once and then that was it. I'm still every single day having to work on that. Areas where imposter syndrome sneaks in and I feel like maybe I don't deserve this, or I'm still not quite that leader yet. I have to work on that every single day. But because I've already started doing the work on that, it's a lot easier for me to switch now. Start doing that no matter what rank you're at. Start showing up and figuring out who that person is that you want to be, and start showing up as that person. How do you see Mindy showing up to things? How do you see Jen Dowd? How do you see Tina or Bree? How do you see them showing up to things? Start showing up like that. And your volume will have no choice but to catch up. We don't know when, but it will have no choice but to catch up. So I think that for me, that was really, really the big thing. Where I am today is because of a couple of those two little things, little tweaks that I made, but it was really dismantling the thought process that were keeping me stuck and broke and thinking very small, and just deciding to get through the uncomfortable part of that, to push through what those things were, to show up like the person I knew that I could be. And now I feel like sky's the limit. I can grow as big as I want to because I understand how powerful this is. And we know the things too, right? Like, I'm not discounting any of we know the day-to-day stuff. You got to message people, you got to post. Like, we know all those things too, right? All those have to come into play as well. But the real key is adjusting this. And I still do it. I still have to do it every single day to show up like the person I want to be that I'm not yet. Like, I got to one level, it's time to move to a next level, but I have to become that next person if I want to move to that next level. You'll stay stuck where you are if you never push past those things to show up like the person you can be. So I think that's really it. That was really kind of what I wanted to share with you guys. It's not, some people think like I feel like this too for a long time. I was like, there's some secret thing that the top people aren't telling us. There has to be some secret thing. I know it. There's not. There's no secret thing.
It's so true, right? Like, there's no magic pill, there's no magic little secret training that you're going to get that you've never heard before. Like, that's the one thing that I realized, Sarah. So can I ask you some questions? Because I'm sure people
Yes.
have these questions.
Yes.
So first of all, I love that you said it was your mindset. You know, it's always us, right, that stops us from creating whatever we want. And I have my story too. It was just like that. My first 4 months when I got in this industry 18 years ago, I struggled majorly, but it was because I was fighting myself. I was focusing on my past failures and all the things that I hadn't done and I wasn't believing in myself. And I was just stuck. I was really stuck on going and creating something big. So can I ask you, because I know what I did, but I would love to know, what were the changes? Because I know you changed your mindset, right? How did you do that? What were some of the changes that you did in your daily method of operations, that switched?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was a couple of things that I did. I mean, first of all, I started looking at people who were living lives that I wanted to live in one way or another. They had success in a certain way, and I started following them. I started listening to their podcasts and reading their books. I started taking notes literally on the stuff that I was learning and spending time going over that. People that were massively successful, and even just like a lot of stuff, you guys, I know people, like Andy Frisella, Ed Milet. They're two of my favorite people to follow, because they were able to really shift. I love Ed Milet's story because he really did that inner work too. He was stuck and broke and burnt out and sick and all the things until there was a shift. And so I just decided I wanted to be a student of people like that because I wanted what they had. I wanted that mental fortitude that could help me push through whatever kind of block I was currently in. So I started learning from them. That was the first thing I did. I also invested in myself in coaching. I'm paying a crazy amount of money, and I'm not, you guys don't have to do this part to this level, but to do one-on-one coaching with Eric Worre. And that was a massive investment, and it was very scary to do, but that's paid out in massive dividends just in the last 6 months since I've been in it. So I decided to invest in myself. Where are rooms that you can personally get into with people doing more than you? It doesn't need to cost you an arm and a leg. We have stuff going on all the time. We have people in this own company that you can get in rooms with and learn from. So I think that was it too. I had to make a choice to invest my time and my money and my energy into really studying people who had already overcome their mental blocks, because we don't innately know how to do that, right? We don't really know how to do that, because if we did, we would do it
Right.
immediately. It wouldn't be a thing. So that was, I think, really it for me. And I started very small to create new habits in my life, where I would maybe go to bed a little bit earlier than I did before. and set my alarm and make myself do it. I'm creating this new habit. Um, I'm sending, whatever, 15 messages every day before I go to bed. I'm not going to bed. It's a new habit. I'm making a new habit. I had to add in a couple of those things too. And to help me again begin to show up like that person I wanted to be. So
Mhm.
it was twofold. I feel like it was investing in needing help switching this around, and also setting small goals that could shift my habits enough where I started behaving more like that top earner I really wanted to be.
Yep. Yep. No, I love it. That's so good.
Yeah.
And for me, when I first got in this industry, I was treating it like a hobby, where I was building it
Yeah.
on convenience and building it on when it worked for me. And I didn't know that I was doing that. I never would have said that because I knew that wasn't the right thing to say as a leader, right? I never would have said
Right.
that I'm building this when it's convenient for me and I'm doing this when it's convenient for me, but that's what I was doing. Like if a
Yeah.
family party came up, I was going to the party. If my kids had a football game or a basketball game, it was a really easy excuse to say, I'm going to do this instead of go and build my multi-million-dollar business. And one of the mindset shifts for me, and I would say probably for you too, is I started treating it like a multi-million-dollar company. Like I
Yeah.
decided I'm going to the office every single day, and I changed my habits to fit like I was building a multi-million-dollar business. Even when people asked me, what do you do? I used to say I was a preschool teacher. I used to say that my husband owns a company, that does maintenance for grocery stores. But I changed that and I started to say, I own a multi-million-dollar business. I work from my house and I help people make money, online. Like I started saying things
Yeah.
that and then I started fitting into that mold because I was thinking that way. I was acting that way. I was doing those things to get those results. And that's the biggest key is, you know, everybody's probably heard my story a million times, but decide exactly what you want. Like, what do you want to go create? And I'm sure that was part of it for you, Sarah. It was like, okay, this is the life that
Yeah.
I want, right? I'm going to follow this person, but
Yep.
decide exactly what you want and then show up as that person every single day and follow people who have what you want in your life. And truly, when you start just doing that, that does shift the mindset and everything. I remember asking a mentor one time, so how do you get to that next level? Like, what do you do to start thinking differently and believing that this is who you are, that that's what you want to create? And they said you just start showing up that way. You just start doing it. And you run to
Yeah.
the danger every single day. Just run to that uncomfortable feeling, that feeling that scares you to death every single day and do the work. And pretty soon that's not going to feel so uncomfortable, but you're going to start to grow and become better. And I can attest to that because that's really what happened for me too. So I love that you shared that, Sarah. I didn't even know you were going to share that, but I love that. Um,
Yeah.
I'm excited for you. I'm going to ask you one more question. So you're having your very biggest month right now,
Yeah.
right? Um, what are some things that maybe shifted this month that were different from even last month, that's making it
Yeah.
your month? Do you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, a couple things. Obviously, like I said before, one person can change your entire business, right? So that is part of it. So we are having a group of people that have started to come in that do have good networks. And so that's growing a level of growth. But here's the difference is that so these are influencers, right? We had an influencer join and then they brought in more people. But here's the key. We're teaching them how to build their businesses.
Yeah. I think we might have lost Sarah for a minute, but um, focusing on the business aspect, right? Rather than the customer aspect. Sarah, did we lose her? You guys tell me if we did, or is it me?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
I mean, she's name's there.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So what she was telling me yesterday is, that she's really, really focused on helping these influencers instead of just going out and getting customers, and just constantly focused on that customer aspect, but building a true business that you have an opportunity to build something massive and really focusing in that team building arena. So you guys, I'm so excited that we had Sarah on. Sarah, if you are still there, if you want to add anything, we would love for you to, but I think we might have lost her. I know that she is,
Oh, sorry. I'm back. My phone
there.
overheated.
There she is. Okay.
So sorry. Sorry about
Okay.
that. My phone overheated. I don't know why.
That's okay. That's okay. It's hot.
It
Um,
is hot.
but I was just explaining that you were, helping these influencers build a
Yeah.
business, right?
Yeah. So a lot of people, and you guys have probably seen this, a lot of people are just hustling in general, right? And that was one of the big differences, is that we're teaching people who are normally customer gatherers, and this could honestly, you guys, like, apply to any customer you actually have, how to build a business here and the absolute value in building a business here. I just had that conversation with my team yesterday about building, talking to your customers about, do they understand there's a paycheck attached to these products that's different than just, they're already using it, they should grab that paycheck. And that has been the hugest difference, is that we have a lot of people that are used to getting good customers, and we're teaching them to build a business instead, which has been insane. That's been insane. They are blowing it up, but they're also so excited about what they have here. I've heard over and over and over again, they're like, we've never seen anything quite like this. We've never experienced anything like this before. And so that's been one of the biggest tickets to this month's growth. I've been in steady growth for several months, really since about, I don't know, January, where I've been steadily growing. But the big push this last month, well, 2 months, has been bringing these people in and showing them how to build a business that they've never actually done before. And again, like I said, I told my team that you need to reach out to all your customers, because a lot of people don't understand that they can actually build something here. They think they don't think about it. So showing them the value of what we have, and I did a like a mini training on that a couple of weeks ago, where people spend the money where they know that there's value, and it's up to us to show where the value is. And so that's what we did. We just showed them exactly what the value was here and how to build, and they're building these huge teams. And so that's been a big part of the growth this month. But the steady growth has really been just being super consistent, with always being in a phase one activity, always focused heavily on recruiting and bringing people into the business for being a customer or as an associate, just always heavily focusing on that. That's where you're going to grow no matter what. If you're always bringing people in, you won't have a choice but to grow. And so that was really it. But yeah, it's been really fun to bring in these people and watch them find a level of freedom that they didn't know existed. If you guys don't know, like, what we have here at Turnout really is so special, and it is so unique in the industry. Even being at Ascent, a couple weeks ago, it was just so encouraging to hear from Scott and Craig just on the safety of where we are right now, and how Trinot, if you guys don't know, I mean, a lot of you are here for this, but we're in big growth and a lot of companies are not. I think they said there was like 12 companies in the US that were based in the US, network marketing, that had big growth in 2023. We were one of them. Most are in massive decline. And so having a safe space where people can find a home and also make good money is so amazing. That's what we need to be talking about a lot. And so that's the other part of it with the people we're bringing in, is just getting really loud about what it is that we have here at Trinot and how unique and special it actually is. And that we're a place where people can find safety, like they can be safe here and they can build the biggest thing they've ever built, which is what a lot of us are doing. So yeah, that's really it. That's kind of like the little secret to this month's growth. But I love that our team in general has been in growth for quite a while, and that was really the crux of it. It was, always having to bring in new people. You just always have to be looking for that next person to bring in. That's where you stay in steady growth. And understanding and getting very excited about what you have your hands on, and making sure that people know that this is a safe place where they can make money, they can change their health, and it's going to be here for a very, very long time. So I think that was it.
Oh, I love it so much. And it's so true. And that really is it, you know. Um, there's not much to this. It does take work, but it's really just showing up every single day and, you know, working on you and realizing that we attract to us who we are. So how are you showing up? If you want sharp, successful, amazing people in your team, then show up as that person, right?
Mhm.
And that really is truly it. But Sarah, thank you so much for sharing today. I'm so excited for you, and you are absolutely right. We are so blessed to be here. And I hope that each and every one of you know what you have your hands on. I've been in this industry now for, it will be probably 30 years when I add all this up, which I can't even believe. Okay. And only been with 3 companies. Okay. But what I can tell you, I've seen it all. And we have the very best blessing, the biggest opportunity right now today that I've ever seen. And if you've ever wanted to do something big, now is the time. Now's the time to make it happen. Go spread the word. You know, today is the last day of the month. You have an incredible opportunity. You can do so much in one day. One day can change your life. And I know for me, you know, when I first got in this industry, I remember wasting time because I was so scared. I remember sitting down with my mentor and we were going to make calls to get customers. And I was so scared to make those calls that I wasted 2 hours thinking about it, right? Cried about it, thought about it, kept looking at my list and worried about it. I mean, how many of you know what I'm talking about? And then I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to go get 20 customers. And within 2 hours, I got 20 customers, you know, just because I just made a decision to do it. So today you have an opportunity to do something big, like reach out to everybody you possibly can. Let's close out the month strong. So that next month can be your very best month ever, because I guarantee you that Sarah's having her best month ever, not because, you know, on July 1st, she decided she was going to go crank. It's because in, you know, May, June, like she's been building this up, right? She's been putting people in the pipeline. She's got teams that are putting people in the pipeline. And she's made, you know, she made June 29th her very biggest day ever, and June 30th her very biggest day ever, and then July 1st her very, you know what I mean? And so if you just do everything you possibly can every single day, you show up as, you know, a multi-million-dollar owner, okay, a top producer in the company, you can go create something big. And I'm so grateful that we have this opportunity in our hands. And you should love people so much around you that you have to be a good friend and share this with everybody you love. Like that's how you should feel, like you're giving people a blessing. And when you start feeling that way, then this is going to be so simple for you. And that's really what changed for me, is that mindset of, I have something, a blessing in my hands, a gift of health, a gift of financial freedom that I can share with everybody I love, and take that attitude on, that you're giving them a gift. You're not going out and recruiting, you're giving somebody a gift. When you have that attitude, things change. So Sarah, thank you again for joining us. You are so awesome.
Yes.
We feel so blessed to have your leadership and your knowledge. And I have some incredible notes from what you said. And I know everybody on this line does as well. And we just appreciate you so much. And no doubt that you will be a top producing presidential Blue Diamond. With everything you are doing, we're so excited for you. So thank you again. And
Thank you so much.
yes, thank you. And thank you everybody for joining us today. Let's go kick some butt. Let's go make some big things happen, and let's close out the month strong. And we will see all of you at all of our events that we have going on this week. You guys are awesome.